Hello and welcome to Cha-Ching Chats. I just want you all to know that we are on version of trying to re- four of trying to record this podcast
This,
because of technical
not
because
just
of
this podcast, this episode of this podcast.
this episode because of technical difficulties.
Yes, I would be the technical difficulty. Okay,
um so I'm Sarah and I'm here with my co-host.
Cheryl.
And we are going to be talking about what can I deduct? What is a business? What can be classified as a business? So, Cheryl, we both hear about pretty much daily. Well, I hear from homeschool moms. I just sell a little bit of stuff on Etsy, or I just sell some crafts on Etsy or at a craft fair or several craft fairs. I sell candles on Facebook Marketplace. Um, my son does, and this can be an older son, younger son. My son mows lawns. They don't have a business, they just do it on the side. And to that, Cheryl says,
Oh my God. That's literally what I say. um, if you are selling anything, whether it be a service or a product, you have a business.
and
That's
why
all
do we
you need
want
to
to have a
do.
right? But why do we want to have a business?
We want to have a business because we can reduce the taxes that we are paying. For example, if you or your spouse are working at a W-2 job, all of the things that you buy in your life are bought after tax dollars.
Right?
If you start a side hustle, however small it is or large, now you can take a lot of the things that you're spending on a regular basis and then make them tax deductible to your business. My whole goal in helping people with their taxes and their business and their accounting is to move as many personal expenses as possible over into their business legally. So we don't cross the line, although the line is pretty large and it's very, very gray. So, and because of that, we have a lot of room to maneuver within it and be able to take a lot of deductions that we were previously paying for after the taxes came out of our paycheck. Internet, cell phone are two of the biggest ones that almost everybody, well, everybody that is listening to us right now has. I will
Also, yeah,
absolutely guarantee that.
also mileage. Because if you're a mom and you're making crafts or you're making if you're selling baked goods, there's lots of people that sell at those fairs on Saturdays, on the weekends. The mileage to go get your products, to make your products, yarn, baking goods, wax, whatever you're doing, mileage is deductible.
Absolutely. And if you are very thoughtful about how you make your trips prior to leaving the house, you know, a lot of people, at least they used to, they would just jump in their car and go. And then they get back and they'd realize they forgot a half a dozen things and they'd go and they'd come back and then I mean, I've had family members that were horrible about that and friends. But if you are very thoughtful about planning your trips before you leave the house, then you have the ability to make pretty close to 100% of your miles business. And if you have that, then you're getting a credit or a deduction for those miles being business miles against your business income.
Right. So we don't have any great mileage apps that we recommend. We hear about lots of different mileage apps, but if you guys have a mileage app that you use, drop it in the comments below so that we can know, give us some suggestions why you like it, why you don't. The easiest way that a lot of people kind of think is Cheryl suggests pen and paper and just keeping a notebook.
Yeah, I mean, I actually want it to be like in a Excel spreadsheet or a Google Drive, Google, what's it called? Google Sheets, something like that, where it will total it for me. Then I don't have to manually key in the numbers. However, using your receipts to help you track your mileage, using Google Maps to help you track, because it will keep track of where you've been, which is kind of, I'm not always really sure about that. But I did have a client recently mention Stride as an
Okay.
option. And then just this morning, well, when you guys hear this, it'll have been last week. Somebody mentioned, do I have it written down here? Yes, Gridwise. So they were saying that sometimes Gridwise doesn't get the mileage quite right, so you need to be sure that it did get the calculation. But the client mentioned Stride, and someone in the call this morning also mentioned Stride. So those are both free, whereas MileIQ is a monthly fee. And what I don't like about MileIQ is I don't want to have to swipe left or right every time I stop my vehicle.
Right.
I know what I'm doing. So just little app, leave me alone. Just keep chomping away and we'll be fine.
Right.
So until I turn you off, just hush.
There we go. So this is a good point to add. We have calls in our membership twice a month that you get with us. And we have a membership for a mastermind group that we talk about. Cheryl is an accountant, and I talk about personal finance, budgeting, getting out of debt. And in addition to that, our Cha-Ching Chats podcast is focused on side gigs and what counts as a business, different side gigs that people can do, and having multiple streams of income coming in. Our membership is currently only $7 a month. So if you would like to join, we will put the link below. We highly suggest that you join. And a great group of like-minded individuals. And you'll also get a free gift from one of our previous guests. We also have a tracker in there for if you do merchandising side gigs. We have that. It talks about, it divides it up easy for you to see, where it's got the store, the date, the amount that you're going to earn, and if you had any expenditures, if you had to purchase anything, and then the date that you were paid. So it's all easily divided by month, so that you can print that and use that. And we also have one for driving gigs. So if you are doing a DoorDash, or if you're doing a Uber Eats or Spark, you can also track different things on that spreadsheet as well. And those are both also free in our membership. So lots of different things that we have going on in our membership. And you can try it for a month, see how you like it. And I think you guys will get a lot out of it. So tell me, let's move on to what constitutes a home office.
Great question. Were you listening to my call this morning? Because we cover, it's like just rehashing all the things we were talking about this morning. The things that I am having the biggest issue getting across to people in my audience are exactly what you're bringing up. So a home office, if you are any type of business that has a home office, would constitute for what like this room is for me. There's nothing in it that is not part of my office. So I don't have a bed in it. It can't be used for something outside of my businesses as it is, right? So
Right.
this entire room would be able to be counted as a home office. If you are using a room and it does double duty as a guest room, you can't use the entire space. You can only use the space where your desk and business stuff is sitting. When you are a reseller, because a lot of our audience is also resellers, eBay, Mercari, Posh, and things like that, then generally speaking, you're going to have other areas in the house where you store inventory. If you're using an entire room, then you are able to count the entire room. But let's say you have a stack of totes that you regularly keep in the dining room area. It's like always there. That's kind of where you store your inventory or the things you're going to list. So that floor space is able to be counted because it is sales items or sales materials. So if you have a business, it doesn't even have to be reselling per se like eBay, but if you talked about candles and things like that. So if you are selling any type of thing, any type of product, you can count space the same way. If you store product and or advertising materials in your home. So then you can count any space that gets used. If you store anything of that in your garage, it's the only place in that's part of your house that can be considered mixed use. So if you had one shoebox of business stuff in your garage, you could count your entire garage. You would just add the square footage of your garage to your home and then add it to your business space, because it's
That's
not
interesting.
part of your business. It's not considered part of your home square footage.
So, okay, so this is an idea for people that are resellers or that have products that they not consume, that they need to store to ship out, people that make t-shirts and they need storage, that kind of thing. One year we built a shed, a wood shed, and that was deductible because it was just used for, well, and still is used for our eBay business. Is that correct?
That is correct. However, how you get to count it depends on whether it's a permanent foundation or
Mhm.
whether it's a temporary foundation. So
Okay.
if it's something that they brought in and just plopped down, or you just built on cinder blocks or something like that, and it could possibly be moved, then that would be considered a temporary foundation, and you would be able to deduct or depreciate depending on the cost
Mhm.
as part of your home office expenses, but you would not, or as part of your business expenses if it was bought specifically for the business. If it was built even separated from your home, so think detached garage or outbuilding, and it's built on a permanent foundation, pour the concrete, build the walls, it ain't going anywhere, hopefully, then it becomes a depreciable asset, and it would increase the value of your home. So you would put it on your home office expenses. You'd use it as part of your square footage, and the building of it would be an addition, like a new roof or something like that. It would be depreciable there as well as your house.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, so we did that one year on a slab. And then the next year we had a basketball court. Maybe it was 2 years. We quickly outgrew that. And so we built another shed on the basketball court. So kids can't play basketball anymore because that again was on concrete slab. So but yeah, so we had to use the area. But that those are other ideas for people that they want to expand their business, expand their side hustle, and but they don't want it to take over their house. So if you're using your garage, I'm just recapping, if you're using your garage, if you have a permanent structure, those types of things can also be deducted
Yes.
in different ways through your business.
Mhm.
So if it's in your home taking up space, if it's out of your home taking up space, what about storage units?
Absolutely. A lot of people forget to deduct those, and their
Yeah.
expenses and their bookkeeping. But if you use a storage unit outside of your home, here's the kicker though.
Okay.
If you only use a storage unit outside of your home, then you no longer have a home office. If
Good
you're
to
doing
know.
all of your business from the storage unit, you no longer have a home office. So you can't take the home office expense anymore, and your mileage doesn't start until you get to the storage unit.
Okay.
So always keep a home office.
That's very important. Very good to know. This is why Cheryl, as a tax strategist, is a person that you want to keep on your Rolodex as someone that you can refer to with your questions. All right. And oh, okay. So Cheryl is booked solid through this accounting season through October 15th, but she
No,
does.
I'm booked solid through April 15th.
Did
My
I say October?
Yes, my
Oh
my
my
book,
gosh.
my consultations and my tax appointments reopen April 22nd.
There we go. April 22nd, not October. I don't know why I said October. So, but if you would like Cheryl's help with your things, you can absolutely contact her. Information's going to be down below in the description box. And you can fill out a form, which is super easy to fill out if you want her to do your taxes, and it extends the deadline.
To October.
Oh, is that why I was thinking October 15th? Okay. So yeah, it will extend the deadline for you, and Cheryl can then do your taxes for you. So don't fret. Don't rush and do your taxes and not get the deductions that you're eligible for just because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Let someone help you, because then you can use that for further upcoming years. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck in that cycle of missing out on all those deductions that you can take.
And if you have already done your taxes and you feel like, oh my, I now have learned new things, there's things that I know that I missed, then you can consider doing an amended return also in order to make sure that you get all of your eligible deductions. Never be scared of the IRS or the state if you have done your due diligence and you've kept all your receipts and you keep all your bookkeeping. If you leave those things out, then maybe an amendment is not for you this year. We don't want to draw any red flags. And while I'm not worried about getting audited, like if you get audited, then you get audited. They will send you a letter. They will say, hey, we want XYZ, which is generally
Right.
the three biggest expenses that showed up on your taxes. For resellers, that's probably going to be your platform fees, your mileage, and your inventory. So
Right.
if you have the backup for those three things, then you've got nothing to worry about.
Right. Yes, very important. Important stuff. So if you're just thinking, hearing and learning about us now, and like Cheryl said, uh, don't try and go back and find all of your receipts for previous years, but sign up now so that you can be and learn everything for upcoming years. Learn what you need to do.
I mean, if you didn't deduct them and you still have the receipts, absolutely take the time to go if it's something you want to try and do. If you took the deductions based on your bank account and you don't have the receipts and the IRS sends you a letter, just realize that they're probably going to disallow those expenses and you're probably going to have to pay a little bit more money. Hopefully it's not a lot, but it's still nothing to worry about, you know? It's transactional. We talk about, well, maybe we don't so much, but when you're in business, we need to take the emotions out of it, like completely out of it,
Correct.
right? So this is just a business transaction. They are asking you for something, you give them the something. And
Right.
either you can meet all the things that they're asking and check all the boxes, or you can't. It's simple. No reason for anxiety, no reason for get upset. Just very, very methodically. Just the same way that you should do your taxes and do your bookkeeping. Be methodical about it, one thing at a time. If you read the letter and you do the one thing at a time and you give them everything that they ask for, you're golden.
Yes. And that's a big thing that we both talk about, is break down those scary tasks. Like for me, it's budgeting. Break it down. We don't think about the whole thing. Break down those tasks. Cheryl is very big in, let's not be afraid of our accounting and our paperwork. Break it down, monthly tasks, reconcile your things all at one time. This is not, I liken it to when you go to the grocery store You either have enough money to pay your groceries or you don't. So you're either getting all of the groceries that you want or you're not. And that's the kind of thing that you need to think of. Like, I don't know, I guess maybe that's too easy to think of, but with the taxes, you either have the records or you don't. It doesn't have to be an anxious kind of fearful situation.
Right. And speaking of which, it's like when people start asking me questions about things, it makes me realize where the breakdown is for people's thought processes. So, for example, I was talking with a group this morning and I realized that maybe it's just not understanding the tax forms, even though most people don't use the tax forms themselves anymore. You're using some type of software online. I'm planning on doing a class that is going to walk through the tax forms themselves, the basic ones. And then I'm hoping that by doing that, people will understand more about the deductions and how the numbers work together so that they can better utilize the things that are around them.
Right. So tell us a little bit about cost of goods sold. How can we deduct that and what can we deduct? What's the broad spectrum here?
Okay, so if you're selling anything, doesn't matter what it is, if you're selling any kind of product, then you have your either you've purchased inventory that has already been manufactured, or you are purchasing components that you're then going to assemble to sell an item. These things, plus the items that you're going to use to ship from you to your customer, and any platform fees, like if you sell on Etsy or eBay or Macari, if you they all charge you something, and then the shipping itself. So all of these things are considered your cost of goods. Back in 2017 with the Tax Cut Job Act, they made a new rule. Well, it's not so new anymore, but they made this rule back in 2017 that said if you make if your gross sales are under $26 million, and it's been indexed for inflation, so it's actually higher than that now. If your gross sales are under $26 million, then you are considered a small business.
Wow, that's a big range of small business.
Yes, because I'm pretty positive that everybody that's listening to us is a small business. We are allowed to deduct our purchases at the time, our inventory and component purchases or supplies at the time of purchase. It's called cash accounting, and it is we can either do that as part of an inventory system if we're required to keep an inventory system, and we are required if we're using something like eBay or Poshmark or Etsy, because our listings are there. It's
Right.
essentially an inventory system. We are allowed to expense all of those items at the time of purchase. We don't carry an inventory, so there's no accrual, and there's no reason to, separate those expenses. So we have inventory or the components of the product. We have all the shipping supplies, whether it be poly mailers or boxes or tape or bubble wrap, anything like that, that it take whatever it takes, the labels to get from you to your customer, and then shipping, platform fees. If you're selling locally, then maybe your fees for the flea market or the
Right.
whatever sales thing you're going to. They usually
Right.
charge you for a table or a space.
Right.
So all of those would be part of your cost of goods.
Right. And you also need to think about things, shipping fees. If you're a reseller, those are, they have that printout with eBay or Mercari or Poshmark, but there could be times where you are using Pirate Ship or Shipping Easy or USPS and you need stamps. All those things, or stamps.com, all those things are, excuse me, are deductible as well, correct?
Correct. And on that note, I have something to add to that, but
Okay.
we are halfway through. And
Okay.
so we're going to take just a second break, and you can come back and watch the rest of it over on my channel. So
Okay.
be right back.